Hello and welcome back. We'll take you along with us just on a little standard day in Bali because Monica and I completely forgot. We got a visa on arrival at the airport. We get a visa for a month, but within that month you have to reapply for an extended visa for a further month. We've only actually got about 4 days left. I really hope we've got enough time, Monica. We haven't left this too late because in 2 days it's Nyepi, which is the new year here in Bali. And Nyepi isn't celebrated with a celebration here. It's celebrated with 24 hours of total silence where no shops are open, no one's even allowed outside of their apartments, even the airport's shut. So I hope this won't push us back too much. I'll also get Monica to film, Monica if you don't mind, a bit of the traffic because it's everywhere in the news at the moment for Bali and everyone's been commenting about this. Bali, by the end of 2023, because of the bad behaviour of, well, us tourists, they are, and I'm almost certain this will happen reading the news, they're going to ban all tourists from renting motorbikes in Bali. Have a look at the traffic and imagine if they ban tourists from renting motorbikes and there are more cars on the road because it's enough to give anyone a seizure. Right, to the visa office. Well, that was a very slick service. Bali visas, that is confirmation that we've got the submitted application for 2 visas. This place is very slick. If you want to stay not 1 month but 2, you get a visa on arrival at the airport, and this is the slight problem, that's 50 quid. You then get your visa extension for a further month here, but that's a further 50 quid each. So the difference in staying 1 month and 2 months in Bali is each, for Monica and I, £100 worth of visa paperwork, but it took 15 minutes, it's incredibly slick, and it means that, well, we can stay for, in total, probably 35 more days from now. If you're wondering, I mean, have a look at it here, and this is not too bad, the traffic, but imagine if they banned tourists from riding motorbikes and there were more cars on the road than this. I promise you, it would be beyond hell. Monica and I went to Sanur Port when we went to Chendigan Lombongan. Monica wanted to get a taxi, so we took a taxi there in a car. We got there in the morning about 6 a.m, so it's okay, but on the way back, we came back at about 3 o'clock. The traffic was so dreadful the whole way, and this is far from the tourist areas. The whole way it was so bad that for the last 20% of the drive, we looked at Google Maps, it was quicker to walk than actually be in a taxi. So we said to the taxi driver, look, please, just let us get out of the car and walk. And we ended up walking. If they ban tourists from riding bikes here, I don't know if it's doable, seriously. Okay, usually we go that way to Canggu, which is the new coolest tourist hub in Bali, but this time we're going to go this way. And this way is Kuta. And Kuta doesn't have the finest reputation of being the classiest tourist spot, but it's nice to show everywhere in Bali, and we really haven't spent that much time there. So we'll head over to Kuta, try and find a good coffee spot, and just have a wander around. See if it's changed much in the last 4 years or so since we've last been there. what I love about Bali is that they have to be so ingenious. And that's Kuta there. That's Kuta. They have to be so ingenious with the kind of bikes that they buy and customize, because in Bali there are gigantic luxury taxes on vehicles. Any vehicle between 250cc or any motorbike between 250cc and 500cc, 65% tax on the original price of the vehicle. So if the vehicle's, let's say, £10,000, you've got to pay 65% of that value as a tax. If you buy a bike over 500cc, that tax goes up to 95% tax. So you'd have to pay £9,500 tax if you buy a £10,000 motorbike. So they've got to be ingenious. Nearly all of the bikes are below 250cc. Vespas have a huge following because they're usually below 250cc. Honda Cubs have a huge following. But if they want to make custom choppers and bobbers and cruisers and just custom looking bikes, they're usually tiny engine things. And look at this. It's a work of art. I can't even tell what it originally is, but beautiful looking chopper. I mean, it's just incredible. This crate here below it, and the way the upswept exhaust just perfectly sit next to the metal mudguard. And you've got something here that a few people commented on in our beach video. We had tyres like this on our custom Kawasaki, and I had a few people comment and say, well, for one, those tyres look dangerous, but secondly, they said, these are car tyres. I honestly don't know. I'd be fascinated to hear, are these actually very thin car tyres, or are they specific to a motorbike? Fantastic looking thing with a kickstart as well. I have a nervous twitch whenever I see kickstarts. I don't want to go anywhere near them because I can't figure them out, but lovely looking bike. You may notice new clothes. That's because halfway through filming we had complete wire failure on our microphones. Spent about 2.5 hours riding around Kuta looking for places to buy a wire, but it's a specialist wire, and the problem is here we can't get any specialist recording equipment. So it's the following day, it's the day before Nyepi, so you're going to see a huge amount of roads closed and these statues. Monica, come over here if you can. because some of these statues are just incredible. When we were going into the hills a few days ago, you'll see every individual village will be making all of their own individual statues and parading them through the streets. They take these later today. A huge amount of them will get burned as they're cleansing the evil spirits and burning the demons and shooing the demons away. Some of them will go into town halls and museums, and others, if they're really, really special, will be bought by private individuals to keep in their collections. But imagine the artwork required to create these and the gifted talent. It's absolutely incredible. So you'll see these all dotted along the streets, and you also apparently hear a lot of people tooting their horns and shouting, and that is shushing away the evil spirits. This is so sad. I remember when this happened in 2002. It's a huge terrorist explosion. A bomb went off right here and it killed 200 people. The vast majority were tourists. And if you look in the far left hand, two lines, all Australians. The far left line, the second left line, almost all Australians. Then you got English or Brits, Danish, Belgians, French, Portuguese, Swedes, Africans, Indonesians on the far right. Heartbreaking. 200 people. Quite a few people have said to me, some bits of Bali look very nice, but other bits look just like a non-stop relentless hell with all of the traffic, and I do get it 100%. If people ask me, would I recommend Bali as a place to come, it would very, very much depend on your personal situation. There are probably just as many people that I would not recommend, at least southern Bali, the touristy area too, as I would recommend. And this area, Kuta, is very different from Canggu, for example, because Canggu, it feels like a huge amount of people there are yoga lovers, vegans and or surfers. It's got a very nice chilled out community, whereas here you have much more of the hard selling, people in the shops trying to get you into their shops. You know, yesterday we were parking up at many different shops to try and find this wire that we never managed to find. And you park up on the side of the road and you get people coming up to you and saying, oh, that's 5,000 rupiah to park here. And then you ask them, well, is there a receipt? Because it doesn't look like legit parking. And they say, okay, 2,000 rupiah. And they're just trying to take money off you, even just for parking a bike on a street, and they're not proper parking attendants. And it gets a little bit tiring, I'll be completely honest. And Kuta does feel like a place that's probably been left behind a bit. All of the tourists seem to now have moved over to the Canggu part of the island, and it's left Kuta slightly lagging behind, I feel. So it's probably a place that needs a bit of rejuvenation just to catch up with probably the more popular areas such as Canggu. I was reading in the local Balinese news that the police were on hand to start clamping down on tourists breaking the rules with regards to riding scooters and mopeds, not wearing helmets, speeding, things like that. And in the course of, I think, a 3-hour period, they pulled over and fined 171 tourists. Of those 171 tourists, I think 56 of them were Russian. And it's really interesting because there are a colossal amount of Russians here. Aussies have always been the biggest tourists in Bali, but it really feels to me that there's a very, very close amount of Russians compared to Aussies. They are absolutely everywhere here. But from what I've seen, for one, I haven't seen one crash on the road so far in the past 3 weeks. And secondly, I honestly think that there are just as many locals breaking the traffic rules and road rules as there are the foreigners. I mean, every time Monica films, you can probably pick out probably 15 to 20 road violations every single minute. It happens all the time. And if they do ban tourists from being able to pick up scooters, rent scooters freely, look at all of this. Scooter parking everywhere, it's easy. Car parking doesn't exist. Pavements almost don't exist. So forget about walking, because that is just awful trying to walk around the place. And the roads are so tiny that in a huge chunk of them you can't physically get 2 cars going head on because it's just not the room. It would be awful thinking about having to get a taxi to go to a coffee shop and then go to the beach. It's just unthinkably bad. But if the Balinese governor, which I think he is looking to get the right kind of tourists, which he's looking at, i.e. tourists who aren't there to flout traffic laws and things like that, if he's looking to get the kind of tourists who just want to get in a taxi and go from place to place, so hugely reduce the tourist numbers, but only get the premium level of tourists in his eyes, then that would definitely work, because it will massively reduce the amount of tourists. I don't know if we would come back if we can't freely rent a scooter. I'm not sure. It adds so much freedom. Have to think about it. Right, we'll end it there. Thanks so much for coming along. I hope the audio's okay. We're only going to know when we get back. Please do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you all in the next one.